Welcome to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, where we are at the Women's Pro Tour three-person team event, and this is the final match, which is a two-string match. The teams involved are Jonathan Boudreau, Brandon Marks, and Maria Mazzarella against Craig Holbrook, Dave Barber, and Katie Barber. And getting things underway, Jonathan Boudreau is on the right lane, lane 6, with Craig Holbrook on lane 5. Both of these guys are very familiar to regular viewers of candlepin bowling because they're a couple of the top guys on the circuit. And this is actually the new Women's Pro Tour. They have a couple of mixed events that have proven to be quite popular. They had a mixed doubles, as you recall, earlier in the year. And this event is two men and a woman on each team, better known as the Rose Between Two Thorns event, and it's been a popular event in past years as well. And 9 boxes in the first two in the second box for Jonathan and Craig. Craig Holbrook was recently inducted into the International Candlepin Bowling Hall of Fame. Well deserving of that honor after a lengthy career with tremendous accomplishments in state tournaments, world tournaments, TV appearances, and Craig is still going strong. Craig bowls in the Friday Night Pro League for 20th Century Lanes in Hyde Park. Meanwhile, Jonathan Boudreau is the leadoff bowler for Lucky Strike Lanes in the Friday Night Pro League. Last year, Jonathan had the high average in that league, which is no small feat because it's pretty much almost all of the top bowlers in the on the American side of the border are in the Friday Night League. At least those who are within reach of the Massachusetts North Shore area. Most of the teams are in the North Shore houses. And in any event, it's certainly the strongest league in the sport in this country. One box to go for Jonathan Boudreau and Craig Holbrook. Jonathan on the head pin once again, but again he has a difficult split, 4, 7, and 10. Nothing much to shoot at there. Craig Holbrook with a light hit in the 1-3 pocket. He leaves the 2-5. And a nice little piece of wood behind the 2-pin that would probably prevent him from chopping the 2 off the 5 if he hits it dead center. And he takes that out with no problem. So Craig will sit on a spare and turn it over to Dave Barber. Jonathan with a 9 box and a 46 half. He will give way to Brandon Marks. Brandon, you probably saw recently in last week's Pro Series event, and there is a strike to begin for Brandon Marks. He did, I was starting to say, in last week's Pro Series event at Park Place, Brandon kind of made a splash in match play with that, with a 165 game that included a triple strike in a match play win over Bob Whitcomb. And he wastes no time getting started with a strike in this match. Brandon has really upped his game over the last year or two to become one of the top guys. And here's another look at that strike. Really solid 1-2 pocket hit. The 6-pin is the last one to go. And that's a Brandon likes that. Pretty good way to start. See what he can do on top of it. Brandon actually almost had 4 strikes in a row last week at Park Place in that match. He put the 4th ball right in the pocket, but wasn't able to get the 4th strike. He drops 9, leaving a 7 pin, and he's got it. Dave Barber with a spare to match that spare in the second box. Dave is the manager of Lucky Strike Lanes in Lynn. Lucky Strike is another kind of hotbed of old school bowling. Excellent place to go if you want an authentic candlepin bowling experience, which is also true of Leda Lanes right here, which is one of my favorite houses. Every year they host the 20-string Easter Classic, probably the most anticipated event on the schedule every year in terms of singles events. And now in the 4th box, Brandon with a nice ball, solid in that 1-2 pocket, but he's got the 7 and 8 and a piece of wood that might enable him, he might be able to use it, but it's going to be difficult to cover both of these 2 pins. Let's see what he can do with it. And he doesn't do it, he just gets the 8 pin. He might have been trying to go a little bit further out toward the right. Or he might have been going the other way, I really don't know. In any case, it's a 10 box for Brandon Marks in the 4th. And a 9 for Dave Barber. Brandon in the 5th with another solid pocket hit. This time on the 1-3 side, leaving the 10 pin with a plank. Dave Barber leaving the 4 horseman right side. And Brandon has no trouble with that 10 pin, converting the spare. He will sit and give way to his mom, Maria Mazzarella. Dave Barber with a 9. He turns it over to Katie Barber. And Maria Mazzarella with a light 1-2 pocket hit, leaving the 3 pin plus the 7, 8, 9, 10 back row and several pieces of wood behind the 3. That's a spare. Great shot by Maria Maz. And a spare matching her by Katie Barber. Here's a look at the spare by Maria Mazzarella. She utilizes that wood behind the 3 pin to take out the entire back row. So that's a good start for both women. Maria with a 7 drop, leaving 6, 7, and 8. Katie Barber goes out on the 6 pin, but gets a fairly good break to come up with a 5 fill. Another spare by Maria. Another nice shot there. Again, using the wood to take out the 6, 7, and 8. We'll give you a replay of that in just a moment. You can see how she did it. And I'm not sure if this is exactly how she played it from her reaction, but it certainly went out of there in a hurry. The ball taking out the 7 and the wood covering the 6 and the 8. Just 3 on the fill. She goes to the left and takes out the 4, 7, 8 triangle. Maria back on the head pin on the second ball, and Katie Barber with a spare. Katie led all of she was the top woman qualifier in this event. I think she had 567 for 5 strings. If I'm not mistaken, Bob Whitcomb was the high qualifier on the men's side. But his team went out in an earlier round. Maria Mazzarella and Katie Barber with 10 boxes there. As they complete their first half, I'll give you a look at the scoreboard as soon as they bowl the fifth box. Maria Mazzarella with that half Worcester, and she makes a nice bid on that, going to the left side of the head pin. Katie Barber with a 9 drop. And she doesn't get it. That was a tough piece of wood in front of the 3. I'm not sure if it would have carried the 3 if she went higher, or it might have just deflected the ball around it either way. In any case, it's matching 9 boxes for Maria Mazzarella and Katie Barber in the 5th. And we will look at the scoreboard. This is a very close match at this point. Jonathan Boudreau, Brandon Marks, and Maria Mazzarella leading by 3 halfway through and this is the first string of a 2-string match. The women's events always have a 2-string final round. Jonathan Boudreau struggling a little bit to find the head pin here with a 3 drop. Craig Holbrook just 4 on that spare. And Jonathan back on the head pin, a little too full. Jonathan qualified, I think he had 628 in qualifying. Nice out for a 9 box. And a 9 also for Craig Holbrook. Jonathan missing the head pin, but dropping 8, leaving the 1-3. Craig also missing the head pin on the left side. He's got the 1-3-6. Jonathan with the spare. And Craig Holbrook matches it. Jonathan Boudreau is a student at Lesley University, majoring in English. And he drops 8 on the spare. Craig Holbrook with a 9 drop. And Jonathan with a good bid, but just a little too full on that 3 pin. Craig Holbrook all over the 7 for another spare. Jonathan covers the 10 pin for a 10 box. As they come into the 9th. Craig Holbrook filling the spare. And he goes by the head pin, leaving the infamous Caleri. Very difficult leave. 4 horsemen with the inboard pin, as Don Gillis used to say. Jonathan with a 10 box. And Craig Holbrook with 9. So they will have 1 box remaining. I think you could hear Joanne Rosano in the background. One of the pretty good crowd of bowlers and fans who are in attendance for the final round of this event. Joanne, of course, one of the top bowlers on the women's scene for a long time, with many WCBC titles and participant in a number of successful team events, and she's also won quite a few state titles. So Jonathan and Craig will turn it over to Brandon and Dave once again. In this format, they stay on the same lane, as you have noted undoubtedly. For they bowl the entire first string on the same lane, and then the second string they'll switch lanes, and Jonathan, Brandon, and Maria will be on the left, with Craig, Dave, and Katie on the right. And there is a great shot by Brandon Marks, converting that 3-drop for a second consecutive spare. After punching out the 3, 5, and 9, he goes right on that right side of the head pin, runs everything down. That'll be a 10 box for Dave Barber. Let's see what Brandon can do with the spare fill. A little bit full on the head pin on the left side, dropping 6. 3, 4, 6, 10. Piece of wood that might help him a little bit. Dave Barber with a nice pocket hit, but he's got a split there, 5 and 7. Piece of wood that might... I don't think he wanted to go over on the right cap. He probably wanted to go over on the other side and try and get the ball to cover the 7 while the wood took out the 5. In any case, it is a 9 for Brandon Marks and a 10 for Dave Barber. Another sturdy head pin hit by Brandon, but again, leaving a split. This time it's 3, 4, 6, and 7. A 2 and 2, as we say. Dave Barber goes pretty much to the nose, but he gets a splash and leaves just the 10 pin. So he will have a clean look at that 10. But he's not able to convert it, so he and Brandon will both be open in this box in the 8th. There's a great shot for a 10 by Brandon Marks, cutting the 3 over into the 4. Dave Barber with the 10. Here's a replay of how Brandon cuts the 3 into the 4. Nice little shot there for the 10 box. In the 9th, Brandon misses the head pin, but gets a better leave than he had the last couple of times hitting the head pin. He's got the 1, 2, 6, and 10 with a piece of wood over there, probably covering the 6-10. So this is a makeable shot. But he had to hit the head pin in order to make it, so he'll be open in the 9th. Dave Barber waiting for a ball to come back. Lane 5 is a little bit slow getting the balls back. And he just punches out that 3 pin. Tough luck there. So he'll still have 5 pins remaining to try and work this out. Then he punches the head pin straight back. So that's a 6 box in the 9th for Dave Barber. Brandon Marks, light 1-2 pocket hit in the 10th. He has just the 5 pin. Piece of wood at an angle in front of it. Looks like he's probably going to have to go pretty high in order to cover the 5. But not that high. He went up onto the cap, and that's not what he wanted to do. Dave Barber did what he had to do there, go in the 1-3 pocket on the Caleri, but he wasn't able to cover the 8 and 10. He'll take a 9, as will Brandon Marks. So Maria Mazzarella and Katie Barber will finish the first string of this two-string final match. Maria Mazzarella with a 7 drop. She's got 6, 7, and 10. And tried to kick it off the wall. Pretty good bid there. But that was a very difficult lead. And that'll be a 9. Katie Barber also with a 9. Maria misses the head pin and leaves the Caleri, as does Katie. We've got dueling Caleris right here. 1, 3, 6, 8, 10. And in each case, the Caleri wins. Maria will take a 10. Katie will take a 9. And Katie Barber with a splash there, dropping 9, leaving the 6 pin. Meanwhile, Maria Mazzarella with almost a Caleri again. And she gives it a good bid, but again, not able to get it. She got the tough pin in the back, the 8 pin. That'll be a 10 box. So Katie and Maria have 2 boxes remaining. Katie with a 7 fill on the spare. Maria Mazzarella also with a 7 drop. Kind of a strange pin action there after missing the head pin. She leaves the 2, 7, and 8, and the 2 is kind of moved over a little bit from where it started out. But she goes right through that space in between the 2 and 7. And that'll be a 10. So that was there. 1 box to go to finish the first string, and then we'll show you the scoreboard at the end of one. Katie Barber with the Caleri once again. 1, 3, 6, 8, 10. Maria Maz with a 2-pinner, and she's got it. And Katie almost converting that Caleri. She got the 8 pin. Head pin came off the wall to get it, but she wasn't able to cover the 10 pin. Ball was deflected around the 10, as often happens. And that'll be a 9 for Katie. That slipped off into the gutter, so that will be a 1-11 game. Maria Mazzarella finishing up with a 7 fill. And here is the scoreboard at the end of one string. It is an 8-pin lead for Jonathan Boudreau, Brandon Marks, and Maria Mazzarella over Craig Holbrook, Dave Barber, and Katie Barber. We will be back with the second string, and you do not want to miss this one, trust me.